guys, girls, transgenders, transsexuals, cisgenders, bisexuals, those who are non-binary, demigenders, intergenders, trigenders, those who sexually identify as a tank, and those who sexually identify as a plane. My name is Lone Survivor, and today I'm going to teach you guys the ultimate movement guide in Escape from Tarkov. This guide will include advanced leaning, chamber checking, mag checking, optic switching, sight switching, scope zeroing, laser switching, and grenade throwing. As well as this, I'm also going to be adding in some other helpful tips for you guys. Alright, so to start this off, we're just going to go through all the different optic switching / sight picture changes. So right here I have a Trichicon ACOG with I think it's a Trichicon RMR, and then on the side a PKO6. Now I'm going to cycle through all of these optics by pressing Control and then right clicking. So it goes from the ACOG to the top mounted red dot, and then to the side mounted red dot. Go all the way through these. Now obviously you're not going to have two red dots, but I just put this on here so you guys can get the full picture. So that's just Control and then right clicking. It's quite a common thing to do. Most people already know how to do it, but some new players may not. So there you go. Control, right click. Alright, so a little bit of a different example. Now we have the LCAN on here. And LCAN acts a little bit differently, as many of you already know. Some new players may not. But it has a 1x / 4x optic magnification, meaning you can switch between those. So all you have to do for that is when you scope in, use Alt, sorry, hold down Alt, and you right click, and now change from 1x here to 4x in there. And then the same as before, Control, right click to cycle through the different type of sights you have on your gun, just like that. And it's pretty much the exact same as the PKO6 as the LCAN, it's just a red dot instead. So you scope in, and right now I have a red dot, hold down Alt, press right click, and that will change your sight picture. Just like that. It's pretty easy, you get used to it pretty fast, most people already know, but there you go. Alright, so we moved over to checkpoint here. And as you can see, I've got my grenade out of my hand. Instead of just pegging it, like most people do, you just press a G and your character will throw it like so. You can also keybind the grenades. Now you're thinking, why would this be useful? I can just spam G and they get thrown. Well, what you can do is, if you've got like a small wall like this, instead of pegging it up in the air by pressing G for the grenade to land on the other side, say if there's a guy just behind this UN truck here and I want to hit him with the grenade, what you can do is you keybind the grenade. So I've got mine keybinded to 7 along your med bar, and what you do is, if you want to do a normal throw, then you just simply hold down left click and you can aim with your finger and then throw. But if I am going to throw a grenade like that, I usually just press a G like we did before. But as I was saying, the primary reason you want to do this is to throw over a small wall like this. Now, so I press 7, that's just hotbar to my key bindings down the bottom. I press 7, and you want to hold down right mouse button this time instead of left mouse button. And what this does is it makes your character go into a position where you can do an underarm throw. Now if your friendly does, for example, kill the enemy, you can just simply press tab and your character will put the pin back into the grenade, so you don't die with a grenade in your hand. So yeah, so it's right click to pull it out to do a underarm throw, and you just let go of it. See how it does an underarm throw? Perfect. If there was a guy behind that truck, he would have been dead. It's a really simple way to do it. It's pretty effective if you want to go over small barriers like this. because if you try to overarm throw it, that grenade would have gone like all the way over there. Would have gone pretty fast. So it's definitely useful. Don't underestimate it. You should try it out sometime. Alright, so one of the next things is reloading. Now most of you already know, obviously, that RS reload, that's quite obvious, plain simple. But what most beginners don't know, and what I didn't know because it happened to me quite a lot, is if you're in a tough situation and you panic, you spam R to reload your gun. Now watch the mag. See how it's going to drop on the ground? Because what you're doing right now is a fast reload. Your mag drops on the ground, you'll be wondering where's the mag gone after you've killed the enemy. And it's a fast reload, tactical reload, whatever you want to call it. So to do this, all you have to do is double tap R and your character will reload. I'll do a example right now on the screen of a short reload, so fast reload / tactical reload versus standard reload. Okay, so the next thing is leaning. Now you just got a standard Q&E, which is pretty obvious, most games have this. But then you've also got some different types of leaning. One of the different types is if you hold down Alt and A, you can see that slow lean. Now at the moment I've taken my thumb off of Alt and my finger off of A, so I'm just holding down W and he keeps on leaning. So you can use this if you want to keep on leaning around corners, but do note that if you sprint, you don't sprint to the side, but you do go back to being lean once you let go of the sprint button. So that's just Alt and then A or D depending which side you want to lean to. To get out of this you just do Q or E, back to normal. Alright, and the next one is Alt Q and Alt E. Now if I do an example, so say if you want to peek this corner here, you can do standard Q, but that only gives you a certain amount. For you to get this full corner peek, you have to like move out manually using A, for example. To do this really quickly, what you can do is you can crouch and then you hold down Alt again like we did before, but instead of pressing A, you press Q to lean to the left. See how fast that is? Gives me like a much wider peek as well. Now note, if you do want to use this to peek someone and not just to gain information on targets, you do have to ADS before you peek, because if you try and ADS after peeking, it just changes your scope reticle. So mine just changed there, as you can see. So yeah, to do this you just do Alt and then Q. I have some examples on screen right now what it looks like. It's really effective. You can see it's really fast. If you want to peek someone really fast, really quickly, that's probably the best way to do it. It's just doing crouch and then Q and Alt. Now you can do a standing version of this, but do note that it's nowhere near as fast as the crouching version. So you just do Alt and then Q without crouching, obviously. It's just a lot slower than a crouching version. So if I recommend you to do this, which I do, I recommend for you to crouch first. It's just a lot faster, gives you a lot wider angle than doing a standard peek like that. It's not even comparable really, the angle it gives you. But yeah, as you can see on the screen right now, it's a lot faster than a usual peek. You can even use it, what I've done before is I've used it to, if I'm engaging targets, say there's two targets there, there's one here and there's one there, right next to each other. If they're facing you, and you're just a one-man army, you're kind of screwed. Like, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to kill you. Unless they're just extremely bad or you get some pretty good headshots. So what you can do to make it a little bit harder for your opponents to shoot you when you're standing and they're looking right at you, is you can do the lean. And because this lean is so fast and it moves your character so like wide, moves his position quite a lot, you can do this to mess up your enemy's aim. Say if I'm shooting at this guy here and he's not dying obviously, but there's two of them, so I can crouch, not crouch, I can use Alt and Q and keep on shooting. That just makes you so much harder to hit. When I say so much, I've done this so many times. I've been playing around with it recently because I didn't really think of doing this, and it's really effective. And if you combine this with just a simple crouch as well halfway through, like so, it's even more effective. Just like that. So you do like Alt and then E for example, and then straight after you've hit E you press crouch. That makes you even more harder to hit. So like this, you're spraying, and it also reduces your recoil as well when you crouch. So that's like a really good thing to do. Now note, you probably forget this most of the time, which I did, but the times that I did do this, it worked really effectively. And as you saw by the video I put up just before, you do move really fast and quite to a wide extent, so it is pretty hard to hit you when you're doing this. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. Alright, so the next thing we'll be quickly touching on is the different types of crouching and walking / running speeds you can do. So you got standing and walking here. Now if I use scroll bar, you've probably found this out yourself already, it changes your character's movement speed. You can see bottom left, underneath my character model there's a sliding bar, and there should be an arrow underneath my character's feet, and that arrow corresponds to my speed. Now your weight does have a significant effect on your speed. So I'm wearing full armor right now. I dropped full armor. See how I have gained so much more speed from that bar. There's a lot more of it available. Go and pick it up again. It removes a significant amount. So that's just scroll wheel. Now what you can do is if you want to go instantly silent, you press caps lock. This will reduce you to the slowest walking speed, and then to go back to your previous speed you press caps lock again. Now note, if you do have your speed to halfway and then you press caps lock to go slow and then caps lock to go back to your fast speed, it will go back to the speed you set manually. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're trying to get to cover and you run out of stamina. You're probably going to die if your arrow or your speed is on the halfway mark. Okay, so one of the final things pretty much is crouching. Now it's the same deal with the walking. You just press C to crouch all the way down the bottom, and then C to go all the way back to the top. To change your crouch height, you hold down C and then scroll with your wheel. Hold it slowly so you guys can see the difference. Your character slowly moves up and down. Now this can be pretty useful if you're trying to get a good peek over this, for example. It's just like a makeshift cover you may use if someone's say over near the warehouse. Now if I were to crouch all the way, you can see that I can't shoot unless I blind fire, which I'll get into in a second. So you've got this here, you can't shoot because of that. So what you can do is you can hold down C and scroll up. Gives you a direct line of fire where you can just shoot it at your enemy, compared to you standing all the way up and exposing most of your chest. So by doing this, you're exposing pretty much just your head and your shoulders. Now as I was saying before, I gave you a little bit of an example. Blind firing. If you did get in a position where your character is pinned down behind a piece of cover, you can always do a little bit of suppressive fire. This is probably not the best example, since I have a laser which isn't very effective. But I will leave a link down below to Anton's video he made on lasers. He's another content creator on YouTube for Escape from Tarkov. He does pretty good videos, you guys can check him out. But he showed, or he tested, that lasers do actually have an impact on your accuracy of point shooting or hip firing, whatever you want to call it. So if you're ever going to be doing this frequently, which I don't usually, I'd recommend you to put a laser on, even if you can't see the laser, it's like that much accurate. So the way you do this is you hold down Alt and you press W to go over the head, and if you see on my play it's looking directly up in the sky. It's not very useful if you're trying to look at a target. So what you can do is you use middle mouse button or the scroll wheel and you press it in. You don't scroll it up or down, you press it in. And this is like the free look button. So it's making you look around, obviously, you can look at your gun. But I recommend you to do this if you're trying to blind fire, because you can actually see your target this way. So that one there, and then we also have a different blind fire, which is the side blind fire. Now note, you can only do this on your right side, because to do it on your left side you'd have to transfer the gun to your other hand, which you can't do at the moment. So it's the same deal, you hold down Alt, but instead of pressing W you press S. And it does like that, and you can use your middle mouse button again to look at your target. I've killed more people probably doing the side one, round corners, than the over the head one, just because if I'm in a situation where I'm that pinned down, I'm gonna try and peek up and get an accurate shot rather than just spraying. So yeah, that's it for the movement kind of thing and the blind firing. And a final tip I just want to throw in is people usually comment in streams. I see this so much. They're like, oh, how do you quickly equip things? So for example here I got my helmet. Say this was on a different character, the same thing applies. If you take your helmet off, you've got no what's it called, item on your body, say headwear, body armor, tactical rig for example. To equip things quickly instead of dragging it on, you can hold down Alt and left click. This is going to equip that item to your slots where it usually sits, just like that. The same with the helmet, and then it's the same with the vest. Now if you have items from a different person's backpack, for example, that you're trying to transfer into yours and you don't want to drag it around, a quick thing you can do, this is an example, say this was a player's backpack and I want to transfer it into my backpack. This is going to go into this rig here because that's its primary slot. You hold down Control and you left click. That'll transfer the item from your enemy's backpack or any lootable item, any lootable object, sorry, or container into your inventory. So you hold down Control and left click. That's for transferring items. And it also works for guns, so if you want to transfer your gun into your gun slot, you hold down Alt and you left click. It's the same with all of the other items on your body. There we go. I thought I'd add that one in because I see a lot of the time people asking in the stream, oh, how do you quickly equip things? So there you go, that's that one. Alright, that's it for this video guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment down below and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.